So, getting back to Supra again. I don't know what take sort of getting back to this Supra it is, but we must be on at least, I don't know how many videos I've done now, but I've got my alley brackets back from the welder, so in terms of the radiator, I can now sort of get these put into place. As you can see, the radiator is not level with that, so when you put it level, you get a big gap under there, so that leaves me enough space then to do some nice rubber bits in between to take any of this rattly noise out of it, like the standard mounts. So the next job that I want to do, ideally, is getting underneath here, obviously get this bumper put back on the car, get that trolley out of the way and the downpipes and stuff out of the way, and then I can have a look at getting, as you can see probably in there, that the rear diff bushes are not installed. So I need to get the diff bushes installed, and then I can start getting the diff and all the drive shafts and prop shaft in. But before I do that, I got these. So if you remember back to the Corolla video where I put the wheels on, these are a slightly different nut. So I'm going to go and swap these over, and then at least that's that done because it's in for its MOT next Friday. So swap them over really quickly and I'll show you what I mean. So what I was meaning by the added advantage of these is you can see the threads on that pretty much start where the countersink is. So I've only got a little bit of stem sticking out of the wheel stud that the threads on this engage to. So I've got maybe 7 or 8 turns on this, which is enough, but I'm still not quite happy with it. But as you can see with these, the shoulder, the countersink part starts here, and this shouldered part here gives me about an extra 5mm worth of thread engagement. So these give me a lot more thread engagement than what these were giving me. So see from there, that's how much extra I'm being given. So that's why I wanted to use these. I should have bought these first really, but I forgot that these things existed. So get these all swapped over and then job done, and then we can get back to the Supra. Right, so that's all these nuts swapped out now for the new style. So as you can see, these were straight through nuts, whereas these are like an encapsulated nut. So these will keep the nuts waterproof or watertight or watertighter, so they don't start rusting like these have. So should keep the water out a bit better. So now that's that done, the next thing I need to do is go and get the bushes at the garage and have a look at trying to get these. But before I do the bushes, I could really do with getting that bumper just sat back on there, and then at least it's out of my way. So these are the bushes in question. So I need to figure out a way, because normally the bushes are cut in half down the centre there, and you put one in from either side, and then you put the sleeve through the middle of them both. But these for some reason are in one piece, so I need to figure out a way of squeezing them into the into there. So they're going to have to come in from this side and pull through, because the anti-roll bar is in the way of me getting anything in it here at this side, unless I drop the anti-roll bar, which I don't really want to do. So yeah, I'll just have to have a little bit of a think here, I think, and I'll get back to you. So I've just took the drop links out of the anti-roll bar, so I can pull the bar down. Because it's got this kink in it here, it's allowed me a bit more space above. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick a piece of wood across here, and then on, I don't know where I've put the bush now, but on the bush side I'll put a big washer, and then I'll screw into the piece of wood from this side, and should draw the bush into where I need it to sit. Basically just need to go in the garage now, just move this brush out of the way, so I had a bit of a sweep up. But yeah, see what I can find bush wise I can use to sort of draw these in with. So I've just dug out my press bearing stuff. The nearest big bush I've got is the locating bush thing for these. So it basically locks onto that top ring of the bush. So basically that is a nice fit on there. It provides enough space that the bush can be pulled through with it. So I'm going to use this, which will go through the centre of that. And I'm just going to go and see in my log store what wood I've got. I should have plenty really for doing that. So there we go. That looks like a good piece of wood just there. So I'm just going to cut this piece of wood down so it's a similar size to the bush, because then I know that it will fit in the area that I need it to get in. If I take that full piece of wood to the garage, to the car, the likelihood that that whole piece of wood is going to fit where I need it to fit is bloody slim to none, isn't it? So I might as well get something that fits. So there we go. So I've just drilled a big hole in the middle of it, so that'll go on there like so. The threaded bar will go through the middle. That ring there will be on the other side, and then what I'll use to spread the load of the washer of that on the piece of wood, I'll use one of these, most probably that one. No, because the hole's too small through the middle of it. I think they're all the same hole size, these. I might have to use a smaller threaded bar, so not the end of the world. So yeah, let's just get to it. Right, so that's basically the orientation of the bushes in the way in which I'm going to pull them in, but obviously that way around. So this wooden block's going to go up against the face of here, so to speak, and then the bush will get pulled in from this side. Ideally, the bush would be better being pulled in from this side because this has a tapered fit to it, but it should pull in from the other side. It should be alright. So I'm just going to have to get to it. You need to do me head in. So first things first. So trouble I'm having is once I get it so tight, it then just goes dunk and pulls in on one side and then it won't go in at all. So I need to be able to pull it perfectly square without any slippage, and it's proving more difficult than it looks, so don't help that I'm laid here on my back, and my back isn't the best anyway, so have another rethink. Well, I thought I might just be able to pull it in from this side, but this anti-roll bar is just in the way, so I'm going to have to drop it out of the way to put this in. I tell you what, I never have any luck with this sort of shit, so I'm just going to go and get the spanners now, get them dropped, and just go from there. Right, so I've just dropped the anti-roll bar now, so as you can see, I've got a lot more access there. I should have just done that to start with. But, as you do, you always think, oh, I'll do it without, and then before you know it, you're fighting yourself, so let's just get back to it. Well, with a bit of perseverance, I've managed to get one in. So I'm going to quickly do the other one now, and then it's time to go and get my little lad from school. So that's another day gone. Have it, that's 2 bushes installed. All I need to do now is just knock these guides out the middle of here, because I had to improvise and use something to stop it from kicking over. That's them out. So now you can see 2 empty bushes. I'm not going to lie, they were an absolute pain in the backside to do on my back. Should have done these when the subframe was out. It'd have been 10 times easier. So anyway, at least that's done now. Next thing to do is put the sleeves in between, but I need to know which one is the 2 holes and which is the single hole, because there's fucking, that light's bright. Because on the diff, let me get out, because on the diff there are in fact 2 bolt holes on one side of it and 1 bolt on the other, so depending on which way up the diff is installed, I need to figure out which side these are on, because I don't want to put them in the wrong slot. They shouldn't be too difficult to change if they are, excuse me, but I would rather get it right first time. So I'll go grab them, but right now I've got to go get my lad from school, so I'll continue in just a tick. Right, so getting back to it, it's now been a couple of days, it's been over at weekend, so I'm getting back to doing the bushes for the rear diff. So as I said, I didn't know which way round these were, whether this was on the left or on the right, so it depends on which way up, not on which way up the diff is, but which way up the diff naturally sits, if you know what I mean. So I've been on the internet. I've also looked at the bushes that I installed in the diff itself as to which way up it is, and I found that the double bolts are on the left hand side of the diff as you're looking at the car from the back. So if you look at this picture of a rear diff installed in the subframe, you can see that double there is on the left and the single hole is on the right. So going down here into there, I need to do the double on the left, single on the right. So I've got them ready to go here, so I'm just going to get the, I think it's a silicone grease this, slip these in, and then we are pretty much good to go. And with every bush, as you know, always make sure you put some of the silicone inside there and smear it about, because otherwise you get really squeaky bushes apparently with these poly bush installs. So the more grease you can get in there, the better. We're done with my other packet, that one's empty. Kneeling on it on my shoulder, which is never ideal. So I like to just snip a corner off the packet instead of opening the full top, and then, just let me show. And then so once you get the corner off, just roll the packet up at the bottom, and when you squeeze it, you get a nice bead comes out as opposed to just a splurge. So it just makes your life a little bit easier. Let me see if I can balance you on my battery there. So that when you get the wiggle them over here, so when you put it in, you get a nice thin bead that squeezes. Strange stuff. So yeah, so that's that done now. Let me grab the bushes. So I'm going to do the double bush first, so I'll just put a smear around the end of that. So I'm just going to make sure that that is now spread, and then hopefully, no, it's not just going to push in like the others did. So I'm going to have to get the bearing puller kit again and pull them in somehow. So I'm getting the threaded bar again that I used to pull in the big bushes. That one's going to be easy enough because obviously it's a centralised hole. That one, not sure how I'm going to do that, because if I put it through one of them holes and try and pull it in, it's naturally just going to want to like kick the bush over to one side. So I'm going to do easy one first, and then I shall figure out how I'm going to do that double bolt hole one. So I'm not quite sure yet. So there we go, that's the first one. Big metal washer on there, which is for the hydraulic press kit I've got. And then I've put that on this side, running it in, and that one is going in nice and freely now. So I'm just going to crack on with that, and then I'm going to try and figure out how I do this one. Alright, so that's that one in. It's not in all the way yet, but I'll let the bolt do the rest. When we get the diff in, this one here, my thought process is use a piece of wood I used earlier, put it on the back side of this, and then through the 2 holes in the bush there, I'll put 2 screws through it, impact driver it, and just bit by bit by bit pull it in like that. So hopefully that'll work. So the screw idea didn't work because the screws my impact driver didn't have a bit long enough, and plus I didn't have enough space in here to get the impact driver in to do it. I was going to do it from the other side, but like I said, the screws weren't long enough to go through this and the subframe bush and give me enough meat to start the thread in a piece of wood. So I've just brute forced it with this thing, tightened it, jammed it in and gone for it, and it just seems to have popped now. As you can tell, I'm a little bit out of breath. I'm fighting this, I'm upside down. Believe it or not, I did actually do a triathlon yesterday, so I am aching from head to toe because I did no training for it. So being underneath here is absolutely killing me today. So you're privileged. But anyway, the bush is in, and I'm just going to pull that in all the way now, and then we should be good to go. And then I think the next job is drive shafts, which again, underneath here, is going to be fun. Alright, so there we go. That's them bushes installed. That one, I just needed to tweak it round a bit because it wasn't quite horizontal. But other than that, we are now good to go. So yeah, I'm going to go and figure out, because I can't remember, because one drive shaft is longer than the other between each side. I need to go and figure that out next as to which one's going where before I drag the 30 odd kilogram diff out here to install that. Just so that you can see what I mean, as you can see there clearly, one of those drive shafts is just ever so slightly longer, probably no more than an inch or two, about an inch and a half longer than the other one. So I just need to go figure that out now. Right, so just done a quick Google search, and it would appear that the shorter drive shaft, can't even speak, shorter drive shaft is on the passenger side, and the longer one is on the driver's side. So I'm going to get some grease on the end of the splines now and just get them slid into place, because obviously the car is still on its wheels, jacked up on blocks. So in terms of getting to the nuts on the end of them to tighten them up, I can't do that until I can take the wheels off safely. So I just need to make a mental note of that, so that once the car is running, that I need to take the back wheels off and tighten up those drive shaft bolts, because that could be disastrous. So yeah, so I'm going to get on with that now, and then I've got the fun task of putting that bloody rear diff in that weighs, I don't even know how much they weigh, but it's heavy. It's like just a dead weight. I bet they weigh 30 kilo easy. So yeah, let's just get to getting some grease on those drive shafts. Right, so there we go, that's all the splines greased up. The next thing I'm going to do is just on the face here, I'm going to put some lithium grease on there, mainly for the rubber. Is it lithium grease? Can't remember. Whatever I've got, I can't remember. For the rubber parts of the bearings, basically where the dust seal is, to seal the bearings up from any crud getting in there. So helps the rubbers stay alive just that little bit longer. So I'm going to go and get some of that now. Squat down there, pop that down without it falling over, and then we're good to go. Right, so there we go, very thin smear of lithium grease on there. So next job to do now is just to get this somewhat loaded into the car. So I'll try and squeeze my way underneath here. Again, not enjoying this today, I must admit. So end at shaft goes into there. So I've just got to lift it up over this bar. I could unbolt it, but I really can't be bothered. So lift it up and over and slide it in. I might have just put you in the way there. Just let me move. Can you still see it there? Just. Let me just stick a washer under the edge of the camera there. That's better. Right, so I've wiggled my way around now to the other side. Let's wave that out of the way. Time to go again. We're in. So, what I'm going to have a look at is if I can take there's like a hubcap on these alloy wheels on the other side. Oh, excuse me. So if I can pop these centre caps out, and it gives me access to that nut, which it does. Brilliant. I can put the nuts on and get them tightened up. Happy days. Right, so next thing to do, get your nut and put your nut on. I can't remember off the top of my head what the torque is for this. I'm just going to run it down with the impact driver. Not at full chat, just to get it seated and make sure that the drive shaft's fully pulled in. And then sort of go from there. And at least then I know that the drive shafts are on. Not secured, but they're on and tight. So let's just get to it. So now I know a lot of people say, oh, don't use a silver one on your whenever you're impacting anything in. But all I'm doing, running them down, making sure they're tight. So just to make sure that you've got your threads started before you put that on, because you can strip them otherwise if you go straight on with an impact. So that's the nut on. I'm going to run it down till it stops. And then once it stops, going to give it a few juggers. And there we go. That's the nut on. I'm happy with that. So I do have these, which are the lock rings. So they just go on there, and then there's a split pin goes through. But because of the angles, I can't get the split pin through because the wheels are actually in the way. So for now, I'm just going to leave these off. And then I know that I've got them to do later on down the line. So I'm just going to tuck these underneath there so they're off the floor, so you don't get kicked about the place. I'm going to go do the other side now, and then I know we're good to go. Right, well that's both of them done. So that side, you can't really see it now, but the nut is on there. So that's both of those drive shafts sorted. What I'm going to do now is, I'm running out of time, so it's 3 o'clock. It's about time to go and get my little lad from school again. So do a drag out the prop shaft or not the prop shaft, the rear diff. I might just bring it out ready. So it's been a week since that last clip there, because I have been absolutely as rough as a bear's arse. So I don't know what I've had, but I have been ill. So I've not done anything there for like nearly a week and a bit now. So I'm only just starting, as you can still hear, I'm still not 100%. But yes, so instead of doing all the heavy lifting under the car, because I'm just not feeling up to it at the minute, I figured the next thing to do would be the prop shaft. So this, I dug it out of the shed today, where it's been sat for the best part of about 9 years. So as you can tell, it needs a little bit of a looking at. It's not in bad shape, it's just got a few cobwebs on it, and I'd just like to spruce it up a bit. So what I'm going to get out now is the drill, the wire wheel, and just give this a bit of a cleaning up, and then I get some paint on it. Right, so just dug out some generic brake and clutch cleaner. I've had that for years. I think you can get it from Euro car parts, about 20 quid or something for 5 litres. Little squirty bottle, and I'm just going to be going along it like that, giving it a clean up with rag and with a brush. Make sure there's no loose debris on it, and then I'll hit it, the rustier little bits, with the wire wheel and give it a good cleaning up.
Right, so got it all cleaned up. I know it still looks a bit rusty, but it's just surface rust, so this paint that I put on there seals all that lot in. So yeah, so now that's all degreased, cleaned up, ready to rock and roll, so it's time to get some paint on. So as usual, on with the POR 15 black. It's just easy to use, sets good. Colder temperatures like today take a while to dry, but once it is dry, it's a really good coating. So yeah, so let's just crack on with that, shall we? So there we go, that's the first coat of black on. The first coat's always a bit thin, so it shows up a load of the defects underneath it, but it's not too bad. So I'm going to give that about half an hour now, just to flash off. And then once that's done, I'll go on with the second coat, and then that'll be it done. But it is now 11:15 at night, so it's getting a bit late, but I'm going to get this done, and then I can go to bed, because I feel like I need it. Alright, so now that that is the prop shaft all painted up, the next thing to do is to start looking at getting the diff installed. I've dug out a load of bolts. These are the original bolts for the drive shafts that go in these on either side of the diff, and then I've got 3 brand new bolts that go through the back of the poly bushes, you know, that I put in the subframe there. So they go through them poly bushes and into this aluminium part of the diff. And then I was looking and I couldn't find these. I knew I'd ordered some, so I've just been searching, no joke, probably 45 minutes, and then lo and behold, I found the bolts that I ordered, which are the brand new bolts, which are for the diff ears here. So now I've got a full set of bolts, I can get cracking on with installing this diff back into the car. But I'm not joking, this thing is heavier than a depleted Star, I'm sure it is. I don't know what bloody material they make it out of, but it's heavy. So I've got to get that into place on my own, which I'm not looking forward to. But I might put the prop shaft in first, get it sort of supported, and then we can just sort of go from there, really. First job to do though is these bolts. These are the ones that go underneath here on that aluminium plate there. So I've currently only got 2 in there just to support the gearbox. So they're old rusty ones, so I'm going to get them replaced with some new ones, and then at least I know the gearbox is fully supported then. So, but like anything, I ain't getting any younger, so crawling around under this car is not, it's not doing my back any favours. So let's just get to it. So first things first is replacing these old rusty bolts with the new shiny bolts on the gearbox support. So once I've done that, I can crack on with the diff. As you can see, I'm on my back, upside down, not particularly enjoying myself. But if I want to get this car finished, it needs must, and we just need to get on with it. And there we go, so that's those 4. Next thing, I need to find the nuts that went on the end of the gearbox here, because I've got absolutely no idea where they are. Right, so that I don't have the nuts for the end of this drive shaft at the minute. No idea where I've put them, so they can wait for the time being. I think something not ridiculous, I think like an M12 fine thread, so I'll have to order some. So yes, the next thing to do is just to get it loaded up. They can go over the splines on the end of the gearbox, which is fine, and then get this end bolted up so this end can be hanging, and then that can get then mated to the diff once the diff is put in. So let's just do some wiggling around and get underneath there and get them put in. So, as it turns out, I don't have the nuts that go on the end of the prop shaft to the gearbox, so I'm going to have to order those because they're a weird size. They're not a M10, I think they're an M11 fine, so they're a bit of a weird size thread. So I need to order some of those. I also need to order the bolts that go through basically through the big rubber donut to these bolt holes here on the diff. So what I mean by the big rubber donut is that rubber donut there that's hanging on the end of that prop shaft. Because the engine, when I took the engine out, obviously I had to remove it from the prop shaft, and the engine was taken out of this car probably 10 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. So yeah, so wherever they are long gone by now. So I managed to keep some of the stuff because it was still attached to the subframe, and that's only just recently come out. But the prop shaft and all that lot, everything's gone. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to buy some new and wait for those. But it's not gonna stop me from putting it all together. So the prop shaft is in. So other than the 4 bolts where it bolts up to the gearbox, so it's supported now by its bearing, I can now install the diff, because then I can just put some temporary bolts through here for the time being, and get the drive shafts in as well. So I think the next thing to do is a bit of grease. I think get these faces greased up and then get them bolts in. That's going to be fun, because I'm going to have to lift this in with the trolley jack on my own, which I'm really not looking forward to. You always notice something's wrong when you're in the middle of doing it, never before. So the washers that are supplied with the bush kit for the diff bolts, basically. So the diff bolts have a shoulder on them. That shoulder, if I can do it with one hand, does not go through the washer. So I now need to go and drill these washers out to suit this. Tell you, nothing is ever just right, is it, when you want it to be. Right, so just drilled them out, so they now suit them bolts 10 times better than what they did before. So let's get back to the car. Right, so before I mate the drive shafts up to this, I've noticed, I seem to remember there was a build sequence, and that donut, as you can see, won't go on those flanges because it's already bolted up there. So I need to drop the bearing out in the middle so that it can drop. Then this can be like counterlevered up, put over that nub, and then that bit re-pulled back up and in. I knew there was a sequence to removing it, but I just completely forgot. But the next thing I need to do is to install these. These are like the little bolt carriers that go on the drive shafts. So, because I'm not sure that these are going to line up just yet, it sort of worked in my favour that I can put a bit of pressure on there with my finger and then rotate that so that this then lines up with that, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to crack on with that now. And I'll see if I lie the camera down there, if you'll be able to see what I mean. So if I put a bit of pressure on there with my finger, rotate this, I think it might actually already be lined up. So that'll go in there, yep. So hopefully the other side should be aligned as well, which makes my life a lot easier. If I can find a hole, because I'm the wrong way round. Yeah. I'll have to do it the other way when I get round there. So let's get these running, nipped up, and then the jobs are good and pretty much. If I can remember where I put my ratchet. So, like I was saying about being able to rotate that end, now that that side is all fully tightened up, obviously the wheels are on chocks, so I can't rotate the wheel. So now that wheel is locked in place basically. So that's all bolted up nice and solid. So obviously when you come to turn the end of the prop shaft there on the diff, you get no movement. And this side here, not sure that you can quite fully see that. But when I've installed this drive shaft, it's probably one spline out of alignment to this. So unfortunately I can't get that to line up with the hole. So if I bring the torch around here so you can see where the bolt is there to where the hole is. Well, that stupid torch stand up there. So yeah, so if I rotate this end, you can see I get a little bit of movement, but just not quite enough. So the only way to get around this now is to jack the car up at the back end here off this rear diff, rotate that so that this lines up, and then go from there. So there we have it. That is the diff in. All of the drive shaft bolts are now tight. The prop shaft needs new bolts going through it, so as you can see it's not fully pulled in there. If I can get the light at the right angle. So there's a bit of a gap because I don't have the bolts for this. So I've just put that one through there temporarily just to hold it so it doesn't drop. Not that it will because it's on the spline anyway. This end is now done. So that's them 2 bolts, bit rusty, but I'll get some new ones held for now. And I just need to get the nuts for that. So all in all, the whole drivetrain is now installed. And as you can see, I've just about had enough. So I'm going to get out from underneath the car now and contemplate my life choices. So yeah, so on that note, I'm going to leave the video there. I need to sort this door out because when I'm in here I can't lock it, it keeps banging. But yes, a couple of other little things that have happened whilst I've been sort of getting on with the car. I've had my turbo, as you remember in the last video, I needed to get an elbow welded on there, so I've had all the a new elbow welded onto that. So once that is installed on the car, just let me show you. I know he's looking at my face at the minute, a big ugly mug there. But yeah, so once that's on there, it clocks the turbo down there nicely, so it misses that chassis leg, also misses the turbo manifold there, so it gives a nice bit of clearance. So that's been done. I just need somewhere to put that down now for a minute so that it don't stand on it. The other thing I've had done is the turbo drain. I've had that re-welded so that now when that is installed on the underside of the turbo there, it completely scoops around the manifold again. Instead of it coming straight out like it did before, hitting here and then getting in the way of the outlet of the turbo. So that now goes there. There's a rubber hose, as you can already see, because I've been having a little play. So this rubber hose is the drain that will link up to said aluminium pipe. So once I've got them in the right place, you can see that they're pretty much tying in together. So that's going to become the drain. I've also had the radiator brackets back, so they are now fitting on there, so they're all welded, so they all just need sandblasting and painting. So I don't know what colour to do them yet. I might do them white or black, or I might even do them the burnt bronze, the same as the turbo housing. So yeah, so I've had a few little bits going on in the background whilst I've been getting on with this. And the other thing is this. So I've decided to actually go full drive-by-wire. So this is a genuine Bosch unit. So instead of using the original wire throttle body, which would sit here, you have that big dirty throttle cable that goes over the top of the engine, which always just looks a bit of a mess. So I'll be getting rid of all of that, and I'm going full drive-by-wire. So yeah, I've got quite a fair bit to do. And also the downpipe that comes out of here and goes straight down through the chassis leg and through the hole that you can see down there clashes with a few things, because I genuinely think it was for a different vehicle. It wasn't for the Supra, it might have been for a Sora or something like that. So and I also need to make my own manifold, downpipe I should say, sorry. So yeah, so I've got quite a fair bit of work still to go yet, but we are making progress. So on that note, I'm going to end the video there, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.